This is Rinat Zabailov for Innomind.org. Today I am reviewing a Wacom tablet, the mid-size tablet. This is the packaging, this is how it goes. First, put the CD into the computer, install the program second, and then plug in the tablet. Simple. Apparently it says trying to understand, okay, where it all begins. You know what I mean? This is where everything started. Alright, very nice iPod-like packaging. You know, everyone trying to mimic Apple products nowadays. This is apparently is the tablet. Okay, the pen, which had a little cover, like a little I don't know, cap. Okay, another cap on the other side. This is the pen. Looking good, very comfortable to hold. Two buttons. Alright, this is an eraser apparently. Wacom logo. Alright. Okay, very rubbery, like this is rubber. The whole pen is made out of rubber, so it's pretty comfortable to hold in your hand. Okay, so far. Voila. This is the CD, apparently. Something on the inside. Don't know yet what it is, but okay, CD, manual, quick start guide. What is this? Is this like a vodka glass? Let's find out. Apparently this is for Russians because they like to drink vodka. Look at that. Looks like a webcam in a way, and it's weighted. There's like the bottom portion has weight to it, so really sturdy. Apparently it's for the pen. Let me just, yeah, it's to hold the pen. This is, I wonder what that is. Let's find out. Alright, let's see what this has to. Oh, this is a mouse. Look at that. This is a mouse by Wacom. Will you look at that? Okay, so apparently you can use the tablet as your pad, like a mouse pad. And I'm sure you will not need batteries for this thing because it uses magnetic technology just like the Wacom pen. Okay, so wow, clever. Alright, so you get besides the tablet you get the mouse as well. Very nice. USB port. On one side it uses mini USB, and the other side is typical USB 2.0 compliant connectivity. Do you want to see this? Do you want to see this? Uh-oh. 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 Alright, so let's see which one is the top. And here comes the baby. Okay. This is the tablet. It's got, let's see, okay, so this is, alright, this is the proper side. Okay, fine. That's fine. Let's have a closer look. Alright. There are, where is the, oh, okay, look at that. See, there's a logo here and there's another logo here. So you can apparently handle it either way and it's fine like that. Okay, this is the side of it. Okay, USB goes here. This is Kingston safety. You can practically kind of use a cable, one of those Kingston cables, to protect this device. There's a little something here which makes me wonder, okay, you see this? Alright, so this is like a door for plugging USB either from this side or this side. So you have a chance to kind of slide it either way, and it allows you to plug it from either of those sides. Very slim design. It's a much different iteration compared to previous versions of Wacom tablets. It's very thin, maybe like practically slightly less than an inch thick. Maybe an inch, I would say. Yeah, like an inch thick. Could be 3/4. Depends on how you behave probably, or how you look at it, or how you measure it. There's a kind of a wheel pad. Not quite a wheel, it doesn't turn or anything. I am assuming it's like a trackpad on laptops in terms of sensitivity, but it's got this kind of a wedge to it, a little round kind of a thing, and there's a little screen. I can see that there's a little bit of a kind of a different material under here, and there are 4 buttons on this side. Apparently they're programmable, and another 4 buttons down here. So overall 8 buttons and one of these, and that's practically, this is the drawing area. Apparently you draw right on here. Though this is a medium-sized tablet, it looks like the drawing area is kind of small, but we'll see when the tablet performs in action.
The system is very sensitive, but at the same time, in the beginning you might not be as used to in a transition switching from paper, pencil to something digital, because you're not actually directly drawing on the paper.
You mentioned that you have used other tablets?
Correct. I've used the Wacom Cintiq 21-inch, and how that system works is...
How does it compare to this one particular?
The difference is that the Cintiq, you actually draw directly on the screen. It's a little bit more convenient and visual at the same time. So the difference is that this one you actually have to draw on a tablet and transfer it to a computer screen.
For me, I'm much more used to draw on a paper because the speed is much quicker.
You're saying compared to any digital approach of drawing, you find conventional paper still speediest?
Actually, I think the only system that can really replace paper would be the Wacom Cintiq. The reason why is because it works just like how you draw on a paper.
Or a tablet PC, right?
Right, exactly.
What I did right now is basically a rough sketch of a vehicle, and by using a Sketchbook Pro, it's a very cool program that I personally recommend. And this tablet basically it does the basic job it requires. It actually has a very superior functionality. It's just, I believe that you actually have to get used to how this concept work of how you sketch how you use the brush.
Compared to what? To paper?
Compared to paper, compared to the Cintiq.
Tell me about the texture, the texture of the surface. I mean, is it any different from Cintiq or paper?
Cintiq is actually very, very smooth, very much like a paper. Some would actually
smoother than smooth in what way? What do you mean?
It has a very
this drags a little bit. You saying?
Exactly. This system actually has a little bit of a drag, but you know,
so it's got more texture, or like this particular one.
The sensitivity on this system is actually still very high. It's just that.
Oh, but you can adjust it, can't you?
Right.
Look how quickly you completed this, huh?
Exactly.
I mean, you're practically done.
I mean, you know, this is how I usually draw an ideation sketch, and
except you can't use
the brush,
the airbrush kind of.
Exactly.
Approach, right?
So
unless you just start what is it called, hatching?
Right. Exactly.
The hatch effect.
This the hatching is what I do to replace the light and dark, the light reflection.
With Cintiq, for me, it's very convenient. It's more like plug in and you go, and there's really not much of you know, configuration you need to do. But with the Intuos, there's a lot of you know, setting adjustments, stuff like that.
What are the advantages of the Intuos compared to the Cintiq or paper? What are the pluses, let's say?
The pluses, for sure, it's one thing, it's portable, very, very portable. And for designers like me, I like to, you know, travel a lot. And the inconvenience for the Cintiq is that it's very big, it's very, you know, heavy. So it's not as portable compared to the Intuos that I'm currently using right now. This can be used by professional or amateur artists for fun or things like that. But for the price that you're paying, I personally would save up a little bit more and buy a Cintiq. From my experience, this is the lightest Wacom Intuos that there is so far, because, you know, the sensitivity is very, very sensitive, so that's very good. And
so more sensitive, the better?
More sensitive, the better. I think that's more a little bit towards the personal opinion. For me, I feel like sometimes mid-range sensitivity is, you know, really does the job, because sometimes depending on your stroke, it might, you know, be a little bit too sensitive for what you're doing. For instance, if I, you know, for instance, design cars, sensitivity I can, you know, usually recommend mid-range, not too sensitive, but then, you know, kind of like, you know, mid-range basically.
So basically, the paper is it gives me a little bit more freedom, because I'm actually drawing directly on the plane. So I know where my strokes are gonna go. I know how everything's gonna turn out. Compared to the tablet, where I have to transfer whatever I'm drawing, all the strokes that I'm making, into the screen, which is a little bit inconvenient for me.
Now, but then you have to scan the paper in case if you want to use it online or for print, right?
Sure.
You enlarge it or anything, right?
Sure.
So there's this catch-22 kind of thing, isn't it?
Sure. Yeah.
So would you give up using paper forever in return for having this portability of being able to carry this digital kind of file system based?
Personally, no. I'll always be using paper, because most times I do my ideation sketches on paper anyways.
The pen is actually very comfortable. It's very light.
Is it much different from the Cintiq?
No, it's actually almost the same. I think it's just more towards the system.
Is it softer? Is it you know, more comfortable erasing? You want to try erasing a little bit on the other side?
It's actually, I believe it's actually the same. Except from the color itself, but at the same time, I also believe that this pen can be used on the Cintiq as well, so they're all, you know, universal and compatible.
Is it faster using a digitizing tablet compared to paper?
Yes and no, because, you know, I'm not really as, you know, used to this tablet myself, because I don't use it much. I own a Cintiq. But you know, for a lot of artists, who are used to using Intuos tablets, they tend to work very fast with this piece of machine.
Usually we're not really used to erasing things. It's just kind of like go with the flow, discover the lines that you want, and then once you decide, then you transfer that into the digital rendering for the final stage. But on paper it's more of a ideation. And
what did you say? Ideation?
Yeah, ideation. Just kind of like draw.
Is that like brainstorming kind of thing?
Exactly. It's kind of like you draw the ideas, and then once you like the the idea that you're drawing, then you basically take it into the Wacom, and then you start photoshopping or using the Sketchbook
in other words,
Pro.
you scan it. Right? You scan it in and then you use the Wacom.
Correct. You scan it and then you use the original sketch that you have on the paper, and then you can basically Photoshop or draw on top of the first layer.
Right.
And then basically it's more of like a tracing and refining your sketch.
Comparing to the Cintiq, I would give it around a 3 out of 5.
Compared to Cintiq.
Correct. But in the Intuos family itself, this definitely is the best piece that there is right now in the market.
Oh, even the larger versions of this?
Larger.
Are you saying like there are 4 different sizes, right? There's the
Correct.
small, this is medium, and then large and extra large.
Correct.
Right. Which one would you pick up as an industrial designer?
This one definitely, without a question, because this one's very portable, but then it has the right size. It basically, it's the size basically allows you to, move around within the tablet screen itself and configure that to the screen. Because once it's too small, it's really hard to draw on it. Once it's too big, then it's not as portable as this size right here. I believe it's the 6x11. And
so you're saying this is like this is the best size for any traveling professional?
This is the best size, and I believe that this also offers the best price for this,
category.
This category, exactly.
So the paper doesn't use batteries either?
No, it does not. And paper is very light. It's very
readily available.
Exactly. You can basically get it anywhere. You can go to Starbucks, draw on a piece of napkin, and get your idea across. Paper is it's the initial step for starting a project,
brainstorming and coming up with the idea, right?
And eventually
you would naturally start with a Wacom?
No, I would not.
You would not. Why not?
I actually never.
What prevents you?
It's because once you're on Wacom, you don't want to really make a mistake. I mean, it's just. Not only that, it's just...
you can undo.
Right. I mean, it's just... what I mean is, like, you don't really... for me, I don't really do ideation sketches on Wacom. Because, when I'm on it, I like to do a really, refined piece, something that's worth my time on the computer, and then basically use it for presentations. Paper is when I basically draw ideas and then transfer it to the Wacom and then do the refinement rendering, stuff like that. So yeah, that's usually how I operate. But I'm sure other people, they might use the Wacom tablet to do their ideation sketches, stuff like that. I would always use paper to do idea sketch because it's fast, it's cheap, and it's convenient. You don't have to plug into the outlet. You don't have to set up your computer, adjust all these configurations. You grab a piece of paper anywhere you want, and you have a pen or pencil, and you just start sketching. You do whatever you want to do on a piece of paper, and then there's no stopping it.
Gotcha.
But with the computer, you have to set up things. You have to find a power outlet.
If everything works, right?
Right, exactly. I think the negativity about using paper is that you can't redo. So if you make a mistake,
you can't undo.
Oh yeah, right. You can't undo.
Control Z or Apple Z, right?
Exactly. Once you make a mistake, you have to try to find a way to...
Or erase it if you're using a pencil.
Sure.
But then there's a mess, and yeah.
Exactly. Usually, what the
paper gets like you know, used up and the paper becomes thinner, brittle, right?
Exactly. Exactly.
My name is Calyptus. I'm an animator, motion graphics artist, and I'm 25, and I'm about to open up a brand new Intuos4. I definitely like the feel though. Very light, very like transportable, like you could take it anywhere.
Oh, you mean like because it's so thin?
Yeah,
Okay.
for sure. Like you could just take it outside and feel the cool breeze and just doodle. I would probably do a much better job with the pencil, but over time I'd probably get pretty used to this thing.
I see. Have you ever used digital tablets before?
I've used a Wacom Graphire, not the Intuos4.
Graphire.
The Graphire one has like Bluetooth technology,
I see.
so you
How
can
does
like.
that one compare to this one in terms of feel and you know, the flow of the workflow? How about that?
Well, I mean, I guess I'm more comfortable with the other one simply because I've used it before. And I think it's when it comes down to it, it's just experience. Like, because I mean, one advantage the other one has over this one is that it's wireless.
Right.
And but I guess one disadvantage is, you know, sometimes like there's a lag, like it slows down when the battery's dying.
Oh, because of Bluetooth, right?
Yeah. I grew up with paper, so I mean, paper is always preferred. But obviously, like with the digital file, it doesn't get destroyed, you can undo. Everything has its pros and cons.
Now, you've heard about other tablets, right?
Yeah.
Other types of tablets. Where did this one come, you know, different or better or worse, or, you know, how does it differ from the other ones?
I guess like, my favorite one would be the Cintiq, and that's like the, I guess, overpriced, but more professional one. I mean, because I like to like draw right on the screen.
Right.
And the Cintiq,
Just like on paper, right?
Yeah, you know, the Cintiq kind of like gives you those options to just like, you know, draw right on the screen.
But can you take Cintiq anywhere?
That's the thing. You can't take Cintiq anywhere. You're stuck in a studio or at your home.
Right. I mean, they do have Cintiq smaller version, like 11 inch or something, or 10 inch.
Yeah, or like.
But it's probably not as thin as this one.
Yeah, this one's really thin. It's nice. I mean, there's some pros and cons with all of them, I would say. But it's got a nice feel to it, for sure.
What can you tell about the texture of the surface that you're drawing on?
The texture right now is kind of like brand new, so it's a little rough.
Does it feel like paper?
No, not at all. It's like a hard plastic.
But no, I mean, like, you know what I mean? It's not too slippery. That's what I'm trying to say.
No, it's got a nice grip
got a
on
little
it.
drag, yeah.
It's brand new, like, so it's still, I think you would have to break it in a little. This is pretty nice. I mean, like, how much does it cost?
How much is the maximum you would pay for something like this? I mean, what would
For
be
this?
your most...
Well, I would probably spend, see, the Graphire is like $250.
Okay.
So I would have to pay a little less.
Because of the fact that it's got a cable.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I would pay $200.
$200.
Yeah.
This is a $350 unit. Now, do you think it's overpriced?
Well, the technology.
I mean, is it worth it for what it offers in terms of, you know,
Yeah,
reliability?
I mean,
that, you know, the cord is always there and it's, you know, doesn't give you this lag or, you know.
Right. It's worth it. I mean, it's a little tiny bit overpriced. Not overpriced, but it's just like, I don't know. I mean, I don't want to say overpriced because, you know, it is worth it. The technology works. I love the dynamics of the pen tool. It's worth it. I mean, like, if I had a studio, I would definitely buy a couple of these, a couple of Cintiqs. Probably like...
Cintiqs or
Cintiqs.
Or the Intuos? You would rather go with the Cintiq?
If I had a studio.
Right.
But if I had like a laptop and I just like want to go out to a park and like draw,
Right.
yeah, like this is worth $300, $250, you know, and a really good deal like $200. Obviously, like the pencil feels more natural, you know, like I
Do
definitely...
you find that you have more control on paper?
Yeah, I definitely feel way more control on the paper. But I mean, the Wacom's close. You know, like,
Wow.
I mean, the texture for the paper feels way better. But like the pen feel for, you know, the Wacom is very much the same as the pencil feel. So, I mean, you know, it all depends. Like I said before, I think with practice, the Wacom feel will become like identical to the pencil, but it's just slightly more indirect. Like you're not really like drawing down
I see.
vertically.
Do you believe artists would, because of the fact that they already learned how to draw on paper, they would be less prone to adapt the new technologies? You know, they would have to be more technical before they are artists. You know what I mean?
Right. I think it depends.
Do you believe, or any typical artist who has always, you know, all his life has been drawing on paper, right? Do you believe they will be easier to adapt to the digital workflow compared to?
I think it
paper
depends on the artist. I really do. Some artists are more, you know, like, I guess right brain. Other ones are more right, you know, like left brained or.
Yeah, like left brain meaning technical, right?
Yeah, and I think that, you know, if artists are disciplined enough, they want to make money in modern day, they'll try to approach more digital means.
But doesn't it save more time using digital approach? Like think about the workflow.
Yeah,
I'm
there
saying
are
in the sense, with the paper, right? What are the steps that, like, say, everything nowadays is all about putting it online, or, you know, putting it in Flash, you know, Flash animation.
Yeah.
Things like that, and very rarely, you know, there's anything happening as far as print goes. You know, everything's going online nowadays because of the gadgetry and all that. Now, do you find yourself using paper approach, which is like, you know, 19th, 20th century, right? And using the steps that you have to accomplish in order to get this print online, like in digital format.
Right.
You know, you have to scan it first, right?
Scanning can be a process, and sometimes when you color
if you
correct,
have like 200 pages of these to turn out.
yeah, you'd be in
you know
a lot of trouble. Yeah.
So, like, do you see the pros of going digital here, or?
Yeah, I mean, I think a smart artist would go naturally and digital. I think like one good technique is to take like a drawing done with the pencil and then coloring it digitally. Like that's one way to integrate the technical aspects with the traditional aspects. And you know, you see a lot of concept art, you know, in Hollywood for movies like Marvel and DC movies.
Right.
They do that kind of thing. But I mean, like I said, I think it depends on the artist. Some artists prefer more conservative means, more traditional. Some artists are all digital.
And for the fear or phobia of going digital, they would actually, you know, start using scanning and all that, right? They would.
Yeah, I mean, you know, like, I guess the safest artists will go after both means, do both digital and both pencil.
Depends on what works, right?
Yeah, I mean, because like paper gets damaged, boom, like it gets old over time.
And you can't make multiple copies unless you know, scan it in, and then
you can't undo. You can't. Yeah. But
I mean,
then
you can
like
undo by like erasing it, right? But then it damages the paper itself, right?
Exactly.
Like,
so I mean,
the more you go over the same spot, right?
Yeah, you start to damage it. But I mean, with digital, you can crash your computer and lose all your files too. So
that's true, right? So.
I mean, there's pros and cons with everything. You know, it's a great tool, man. Like a lot of people complain, like, oh, I hate, you know, the digital world. I hate technology, blah blah blah. Like, it's another tool. It's another pencil. It's a more complex pencil. It's supposed to make the artist's life easier. And I think it does. You know, I think like any other brush or tool or piece of clay or anything, you can get used to it and get better. And you know, it's digital. If you back it up, you'll have your
precision?
files.
Can you tell about precision? I mean,
you know,
do you get precision with the digital approach compared to the traditional?
My precision is getting better as I go. Like I noticed, like I've only been here for like maybe 30 minutes,
Right.
and already like I'm getting more used to it.
Hi, my name is Alexis Negron. I'm 31 and I'm a graphic designer. It takes a while to kind of get used to it because you're not looking at, when you look down, there's no image.
Right.
So you kind of have to
Like you're
orient yourself.
You're saying it's kind of unnatural in a way? But is it easy to adapt?
I think it's easy to adapt. I think, but then again, like I'm kind of used to graphic programs. I can imagine someone who really has no experience using
Like
the
Photoshop or
computer.
something?
Yeah, having trouble doing this because it is kind of challenging to know where you are, or where you leave off.
Have you used digital approaches before?
Not for sketching, more for like graphic work and or maybe finishing off a drawing and like scanning it in for archival purposes. I know a lot of comic book artists who use Wacom tablets. It's easier for them to ink and color their panels. I actually want a Wacom tablet, but I can't afford one yet. I'm waiting for the prices to come down a little bit.
Speaking of prices, how much do you think this one goes?
Maybe, I don't know, $300.
Does digital approach improve the quality of artists' life?
Sure. I mean, I think it depends on what you need it for. I don't really think that the paper and the pencil will actually be replaced, just because
it's not going to be obsolete.
I don't think so. It just, I guess it depends on your generation too. I think that, you know, like I learned on pencil and paper, and just gradually, like the computer became more accessible. So right now it feels more comfortable to draw on a paper and pencil, just because.
But there's a workflow when you work with paper and pencil, right? Like you gotta scan it in.
Yes.
You know, like if you were to produce multiple copies of the same page, right? Mm-hmm. As well as manipulate with it in Photoshop or
mm-hmm.
whatever editing program, right? And then you publish it to whatever means, be it print or web, right?
Mm-hmm.
Whereas going digital. So now tell me about learning curve. Was it hard for you to kind of learn it or adapt to it?
No, I think that if I sat down for like an hour, I'd feel really comfortable with it, moving around, like navigating mm-hmm. the interface and the feeling of the pencil and the kind of the weight of the line would be more natural to me. But I think that one thing, I'm not sure if it's because I'm also a sculptor, but I like how tactile the paper is. So I mean, it's
you
so
mean the texture?
Just the texture of the paper, and then the pencil. I think that there's a sort of like also a ritual involved.
Ritual?
Yes. Just kind of like laying it down and then just kind of. Having to sharpen your pencil and I think that there's
because it's already ingrained in you.
Yes, exactly. So it just feels to take those steps. Just feels really natural. When I use Photoshop, I often sketch in Photoshop for color. Mm-hmm. So I'll
using a tablet or using what?
Just using my mouse because I don't have a tablet right now. So I would sketch. Just to plan out my colors for painting, and just because it's more economical.
Painting like conventional painting, like with watercolors.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So I plan out my palette in Photoshop, and then I see what works, and then I actually do the paintings.
I see.
Because paint's
so you
expensive.
Don't use exactly material. Yeah.
So it helps me be more economical with my materials because I'm doing most of the sketching in here.
So not necessarily going fully 100% digital. But maybe preparation.
Yes.
and
I can see that.
what is it called? Studying before you get like kind of get your hands dirty, so to speak.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.